Chương trình này được bảo trợ bởi
Family Joy, tổ ấm y tế của mọi gia đình, 714 898 0765.
Hi, welcome back to the OC Health and Education Show on Little Saigon TV. I'm your host, Julie Yip. To continue the conversation with Raphe Margolin, we're talking about the seniors real estate specialist and to learn a lot more. Earlier, before the commercial break, you were able to share with us a law that was passed that allows seniors to take their tax assessment with them and be able to move 3 times. I know you had so much information, and I'm going to try my best to recap for the audience so they know, a little bit more about your specialty and the reason why you're here today. Thưa quý vị khán giả, hôm nay Julie có thời gian nói chuyện với Raphe Margolin. Trước khi phần quảng cáo, Raphe Margolin nói chia sẻ với mình một cái luật rất là quan trọng. Cái Proposition 19 là Proposition 19 là trong năm 2020 có một cái chương trình rất là đặc biệt, một cái luật đó là nói là chừng nào cái người cao niên 55 tuổi hơn á, chừng nào mình dọn á, mình có thời gian dọn up to 3 lần. And then lúc mà mình dọn đó, cái giá trị về cái nhà của mình á là mình được giữ cái thuế mình trả cho cái property đó, cho cái đất đó. Chừng nào mình mua nhà mắc hơn thì mình chỉ phải trả thuế cao hơn cho cái phần sau đó thì vân cái ví dụ đó là chừng nào cái nhà mình bán 700.000, chừng nào mình mua cái nhà 1 triệu đi thì cái thuế 700 á, là mình giữ cái thuế cũ của mình, mà cái 300 sau đó là cái thuế mới, là cái thuế cao hơn. Thì đó là một phần nữa, đó là Proposition 19. Trong cái đây là một cái luật nó effective là ngày tháng 2 năm 2021, thì mới năm trước hôm nay thôi. Raphe, thank you so much for sharing that proposition because sometimes seniors are afraid to make some transitions,
right.
And they're like, well, I can't afford to buy a new house because I can't afford to pay the increased property tax. But you're telling us today that might not be the case. And 55 is not too old, right?
No.
I think a lot of us, as we approach our 50s, we're like, oh, so I'll be considered kind of a senior in the real estate world when we get to 55. But thank you so much for being here to remind us that a seniors real estate specialist is not a person that works with only our elders or senior citizen, but for all of us. I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm going to hit 55 soon. But I think that's a really important time because, if I think about selling my house, maybe I might want to wait a little longer so I can maintain or carry on that tax assessment. So I think that's very important guidance for us. Now, can you tell me a little bit more about what your work at the Seven Gables brokerage?
Yes, basically, like I said, my focus is on being a seniors real estate specialist. But of course, somebody comes to me and wants to sell their home, I'm not going to say you're too young. So that's my emphasis.
Okay.
But also because I'm from Garden Grove, I love Garden Grove, and I think it's a great area, and there's a lot of excellent homes here. That's also what we would call my farm per se, where where I look to help people buy and sell homes. I live on the east side now. I grew up on the west side of Garden Grove. Went to Pacifica High School. Go Mariners! But I'll help anybody from any of the high schools, and so it's an emphasis on assisting people and educating them.
Okay.
I want to make sure people are informed about what they need to do, and in that regard, also I always emphasize if somebody's buying a home that they make sure to get pre-approved for a loan.
Okay.
Because you need to know how much you can afford on a home. You don't want to go to a home and figure out, oh, I can't afford this, and you could afford it. And in the same vein, you don't want to go look at a home and think, oh, I love this home, but I can't afford it.
Correct.
And so you want to know what you can do.
And I think because you have a master's degree from USC in gerontology, you really understand, even the income transition. Because, as we're young, we have a regular, we work, we get a paycheck. But as you get older, your income transition, whether it goes into retirement accounts or disability accounts or anything like that. So I think that's very important that you mentioned that, we really need to assess, your income sources also, in addition to what you can qualify for. Thưa quý vị khán giả, hôm nay Raphe Margolin chia sẻ với mình một cái chương trình rất là đặc biệt. Một lần nữa đó là cái assessment của cái real estate property về cái thuế đất của mình. Mà đặc biệt thêm nữa đó là Raphe nói là trong cái công việc của Raphe trong Seven Gables là cái văn phòng ở địa ốc á, là throughout Orange County, trong quận cam của mình có rất nhiều văn phòng. Raphe hiện tại làm cho văn phòng của Huntington Beach, mà tại Raphe ở thành phố Garden Grove, hồi xưa là ở bên West Side, bây giờ chuyển qua East Side, and học trường Pacifica, đầu tại mấy cái trường đó. Mà cái love, cái passion của Raphe là giúp cho người mua đất với transition trong thành phố Garden Grove. Thì chừng nào quý vị cần liên lạc Raphe Margolin một lần nữa, số điện thoại của Raphe là 657 377 5636. Một lần nữa đó là 657 377 5636. Email của Raphe Margolin là raphem@7gables.com. Một lần nữa, raphem@7gables.com. Cảm ơn quý vị khán giả đã theo dõi chương trình Kiến thức y khoa gia đình và xã hội. I share with them your contact information, Raphe, because as we talk about these programs, I think our audience is now understanding the importance of whether they should and when they should go to a seniors real estate specialist. Because again, as you mentioned, it's not only for seniors, but because you have a extended foundation and education and knowledge, that when a senior citizen does come to you, you will be able to have a different background and assess their situation more to make sure it's more tailor-made for them. Is that correct?
Yes, and also understanding your needs too when you're younger. A lot of people don't think about the fact that, well, yes, this is my final home that they want to live in. So it's called, there's a term that's used which is called aging in place, where people, instead of moving into a assisted living facility or other facilities for older adults that they prefer to stay in their home.
Okay.
And in order to do that, for a lot of people that want that, the best thing is to buy a single-story home. And also you want to look at how large are the bathrooms, because what if
you might need to make some adjustments.
Right. You may need to use a wheelchair at some point.
Okay.
So you want to be able to go through there, and how easy it is to adjust for, outlets and other needs. And so it's just something to consider prior to buying a home, whether it's in your 30s, 40s, 50s.
Wow. And I think, a lot of times, we don't think about it. Most of the time, we're so reactive. Like my father, he just had a stroke. And we have to move furniture and, make sure these areas are clear for him to, bring his walker into the restroom. So I think that's really important. And so one more time, you said that term is called aging in place.
Yes.
To making sure that if you think this is your final home, and to look at different accommodations, whether it being even a wider doorway and a bigger restroom, being able to move a wheelchair. Because, the truth is, if you don't want to go to a assisted living facility or senior home, then you do want to think about, can this house accommodate? Because, right now when we're young, we might be able to go up and down the stairs in a 2-story home. But as we get older, that's going to be hard. For me, I'm in my 40s, but I have joint issues, right? Yeah. And sometimes I have to swim instead of doing a normal exercise because it's easier on my joints. Yeah. So thank you so much for shedding light on the needs of seniors and the option and how we plan if we want to age in place. Thank you so much, Raphe, for that information. Thưa quý vị khán giả, hôm nay Julie có một thời gian đặc biệt nói chuyện với Raphe Margolin. Raphe nói một cái term rất là quan trọng hôm nay, đó là aging in place. Nhiều lúc mình lớn tuổi, mình nghĩ đó là ok, cái nhà đây hiện tại mình ở cái nhà rất là lớn, 5 phòng, 3-4 cầu tiêu, gia đình mình, con mình đi học đại học hết rồi, bây giờ chỉ có hai vợ chồng ở xong, thì cái đó là mình có thể là mình phải downgrade chút, là mình phải mua cái nhà một lầu, có thể là mình phải tìm cái nhà mà nào phù hợp cho mình, chứ nào mình cần phải xài cái xe lăn hay cái walker. So, sau phần quảng cáo, Julie hy vọng có thời gian nói thêm về cái chương trình của Seniors Real Estate Specialist của Raphe Margolin at 7 Gables. Cảm ơn quý vị khán giả của Little Saigon TV.